Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to a trial run of Big Sky Hobby Corner. This is just kind of a test video, or a test run, to see how long my voice actually lasts. Most of you know, some of you may not know, for the last month, or actually longer, since before Thanksgiving, I've been very sick. And then the many other things that were ailing me, some of it turned into viral laryngitis. I'm taking medicine for it. My voice has actually attempted to come back. I just don't know how long it's going to last. So we're just going to give it a shot. And we're going to do a little video. Some may say it's controversial. It's not really. It's just about radio selection or transmitter selection. One thing that I always see in a lot of these Facebook groups, you got a new guy come along and he says, I bought this airplane, I got this battery pack, I got this, that, and the other. What transmitter should I buy? And I always get just a little bit of a chuckle out of it, because it always turns into a piss and match regardless. It doesn't matter. The guy says, I'm just looking for honest answers. I don't want any problems. Well, inevitably, it goes there. So what happens is, you got the Spektrum guys speaking up, hey, my stuff is great, never had a problem. And you have the Futaba guy, hey, my stuff is great, never had a problem. But you know, that Spektrum guy out at the field had this. That usually starts it, and it snowballs from there. It goes to hell. I'm going to offer my opinion. When somebody comes to me and says, should I go with Futaba, should I go with JR, should I go with Spektrum, should I go with FR Sky, should I go with Tactic or Tower Hobbies? My answer is yeah. It's that simple. Yep. You know, they're all pretty good radios. And I know some of you guys are probably going to go, well, that Spektrum, you know, they got brownout issues. You know what? Futaba has had issues too. Tactic has had issues. Tower Hobbies brand radios have had issues. They all have issues. It's like the Ford and Chevy debate. Which is better? Ford, Chevy, Dodge, whatever, Jeep. You know, they all have their good points and they all have their weak points. I personally fly Futaba, and I'm going to tell you why I fly Futaba. I flew JR way back, since the first time I actually bought my own stuff. My first one was a JR, and I stuck with JR through the 72 megahertz time. And my daughter's back on the other side of the camera making faces at me, trying to get me to crack up on talking here. You want to say hi, Nikki?
Hi.
This is my daughter, Nikki. She does airplane stuff with her dad sometimes just to hang out, which is really cool. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. I built my first gas airplane. It was the Dynaflight Decathlon, and I bought an MLD 35cc gas engine for it. And I set it up on 72 megahertz with the best JR equipment I could get my hands on. And I kept getting radio noise from the ignition, and it was causing a lot of problems. So I had my go-to guy on it. We sat down, we discussed it, he played with it. We just could not get anything 72 megahertz to work with this setup. So he said, you know, the thing you ought to do is go to 2.4. That'll probably fix this problem. And I've got a Futaba TC7 2.4 radio I can sell you cheap. And that's the avenue I pursued. I bought this Futaba 2.4 setup, my very first one from this guy. And I haven't had a lick of trouble ever since. I got a screaming deal on Futaba. I set all my gear up on Futaba. And I just kept going with it. Of course, there are a couple Spektrum guys that will say something. Oh, you can't give that Futaba stuff away. Why didn't you go Spektrum? Well, you know, I couldn't get into Spektrum for less than $100. And I didn't have a whole lot of money at the time to speak of to be doing that. And this was a buy from a friend I really, really trust. I trust him with my life. So I just went Futaba, and I've stepped my way up. Right now, this isn't the radio I currently fly. This is a radio we're going to install in our next build. I fly the 14SG. I love the radio. It does everything you can ask it. I think it even has a direct line to tech support if I hit the right combination of buttons. I don't know, not there yet, but it has a lot of really neat features. I'm sure Spektrum has really a lot of neat features. We got two guys in our club that fly Spektrum. They're both really good radios. I haven't seen anybody have any issues. I've got that Calypso sailplane that does traveling softball with me. Everywhere I go, if we're going to be gone more than a day, I take an airplane to fly. I'll seek permission, and I fly. That bottom line. It's a tactic radio. It's a $40 transmitter. Cheap. And I have never had a problem with it. Never had a problem with it. It served its purpose well. It's been dropped. It's been treated like a $40 radio, I'll be honest with you, because it travels. It gets thrown in the back of the truck. There's no carrying case for it. It just goes and it does what I ask it to do. I cannot ask for more than that. I've got a Tower Hobbies radio that my son flies with his little RA Coors Yak. And it does everything it's asked. I mean, everything feels great. It's a little lightweight compared to what I'm used to holding. But, I mean, it does its job. It's also a $40 radio. You can't complain. And I've flown out this Calypso sailplane. You know how those work. You climb, you get your altitude, get it to where you can just barely see it within your AMA guidelines, and chop the power and see how long you can stay up. And I mean, I feel I've pushed this little cheap radio as hard as I can, and it flies. It does its job. Every radio I've ever dealt with does its job. There are, excuse me, I was trying not to hack up along here. A cough fit hit. As with anything, there are lemons in the batch. You're going to get a bad one. And, I mean, it's unfortunate that that happens, but it does happen. You get the lemon, you get the bad one, you find out what the problem is, get a hold of the manufacturer or the hobby vendor you bought your transmitter from and rectify the problem. Don't repair the radio. Get another one. Okay? You just save yourself a headache right there. If you push hard enough, you can do it. You paid for a good radio. Get a good radio. Now, here's just my opinion, okay? Everybody's entitled one. They're all like buttholes, and they all stink, and I promise you mine's going to stink. But Spektrum, great radios. I've never seen a problem with them, okay, in person. You can read all the horror stories you want online. Me, I will be wise to the situation. However, I'm not really going to be 100% bona fide in the situation until I see it firsthand. But the only thing I don't understand about Spektrum, and I'm sure they've got their reasons, satellite receivers, okay? Let me pull this receiver, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. 2.4 gigahertz receiver with Futaba is your standard 7-channel receiver. This one is actually an S-Bus receiver as well, which is something I'm not going to get into. This is the 8FG Super. And the reason it's a Super, yes, it's an 8-channel radio, but they put a whole bunch of add-ons on it, so now you got a 14-channel radio. It's really, really cool. Okay, here we go. This is the Futaba R6208SB. SB standing for S-Bus. And really what all S-Bus is, you plug one wire into your receiver, and you have like a tree branch that goes out to all the rest of your receivers. You just have to program your servos to do their job. I'm not there yet, not going to deal with it. Everything I have, it's just fine. Okay, with Futaba, we got a receiver, we have 2 antennas. That's all you'll ever see. The important thing is that the antennas are 90 degrees apart, and the very end piece right there past the coating has to be exposed. It can't be covered up in any kind of tubing or plastic or anything like that. It can be inside the body of the airplane. It just can't be covered up or insulated. All I do, I'll cut 2 pieces of fuel tubing, glue them in the fuselage of the airplane where these two set up 90 degrees apart, and I've never had a problem. Now, with Spektrum, what I don't understand is you have a Spektrum receiver. Maybe some of you guys understand and can explain it to me, so I understand why. But you'll have a receiver, and then you have a satellite receiver that you plug into your receiver. Maybe it's redundancy. You have a backup for your backup in case something goes wrong. Something else will pick it up. It'd be like running 2 receivers in an airplane, one flying left half, one flying right half. In case you have a failure, you still have one half of the airplane functional to safely return it back to the ground. I don't know. But just to me, run one receiver, works everything. Why do you have to have a receiver for your receiver? Now, a very good friend of mine, actually, you know, we give each other a hard time all the time. I'm Futaba. He flies Spektrum. He's got a picture of Calvin pissing on the Futaba logo. I've got a sticker of Calvin pissing on a Spektrum logo. It's just all in good fun. I mean, we laugh at each other and say, yeah, whatever, you know, and we go on, we fly, and we have a great time. I've never seen him have issues. Another buddy, he flies Spektrum. No issues. And I don't even think they really run satellite receivers. I don't think you really have to have it. I just don't understand it. But anyway, moving forward, that's, you know, Futaba gear, Spektrum, Tactic, Tower Hobbies brand. Do my advice, and I'll tell you my advice to you on what to do. Do what you can afford. You don't have to step into a big 14-channel radio right away. You're learning how to fly, okay? You have a lot of money invested in your very first. You want to box that up for me, sweetie?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Be careful, okay? You already have a lot of money invested in your airplane, and if you built a kit, you got a lot of time invested in it too. Even an ARF can take a couple weekends to put together, being your first one. You got money invested in your engine. You're going to have $400 invested roughly in your first airplane if you're flying around the 40 size. Do what you can afford to do. All you need is 4 channels: throttle, rudder, aileron, elevator. That is all you need. You don't need retractable gear switches. You don't need flap switches. You don't need all these things. Let's use a little common sense. This is your first one. No need to spend big bucks. What if you go out and you fly and you turn out this is not something you want to do? You want to, big bunch of snow just fell off my roof. That was kind of cool to watch. But you just spent all this money and you go to the flying field, you're trying it, and you just don't like it for whatever reason. If you don't like it, that's fine. Go play golf, go fishing, whatever. It's just not your thing. You don't have a whole bunch of money invested into something you're not going to like, because these radios cost upwards of anywhere from 40 bucks all the way up to $2,000 to $3,000 depending on what you want to spend. You don't have to spend $3,000 on your first radio. Buy the $40 radio. They work fine. Make sure you range check it just to make sure everything is good. Go fly. You like it. You learn how to fly. You learn how to land your airplane. You get proficient. You move up to your second airplane, your third airplane. Okay, I want to get something with retracts. Then it's time to consider moving up in your radio. My first radio was a basic, we won't talk about how many years ago, but it was a basic 4-channel system with a lightning rod antenna. I mean, this antenna was bigger than I am, okay? But it worked fine. It's what I learned how to fly with. And throughout the years, I progressed up. Now I'm flying the Futaba 14SG computer radio. It'll hold more models than I'll ever own. And I know that sounds crazy, but it can. It can hold, what was it, over 1,000 models. And I'm not going to have that many flying at one time, I can promise you. I'll wad them up pretty quick sometimes. I'm not joking. I do. You don't have to start out with that. Start out with that $40 radio. See if you like it. Okay? You don't like it, you can sell it cheap. You can sell it easy to buy your golf balls or whatever it is you need to do. You decide to keep it. Finish flying with that radio. Learn to fly. Save your money. Save your pennies. Get it on up there. Then buy your next radio. Get you a 6-channel or an 8-channel radio. The technology is cheaper than what it used to be now. It's insane. I can remember seeing some ads from back in the 70s. I used to collect a bunch of old model airplane magazines. Old craft radio kits. Single stick, and your throttle was actually a thumb switch that you slid up and down, and it was a single stick. $400, and you had to build it, and it was 3 channels. That's all there was. And you had to put it together. So you kind of had to be an electronics guru as well. But now, you can buy something like this. This radio, if I remember right, sells for right at $300, $275. And it's an 8-channel, technically 8-channel, but with all the extra add-ons, it's a 14-channel transmitter. Now granted, it's a transmitter, battery, charger, 1 receiver. There's no servos. You can buy servos. And, you know, for your first time going out, you don't have to buy the big to-do. What are you doing?
I'm looking at the stand.
Oh, looking at the, checking out the stand from our friends at Foam Flight. Old Steve sent me this flight stand to work. Go check them out. It's foam-flight.com. Or look up Steve on my Facebook there. He's a really neat guy, makes all kinds of neat stuff. But anyway, start simple, work your way up. Okay? Figure out if you like it. And if you like it, something you're going to stick with, you're going to build more advanced models, you're going to need a computer radio for certain things, go for it. But again, when you ask me, Eric, I bought this airplane, I want to learn how to fly. Should I buy a big expensive Futaba? Should I buy a big expensive Spektrum? Should I buy a Tactic? Should I buy a Tower Hobbies brand radio? My answer to you is going to be, yep. It's that simple, okay? Buy what you can afford. Do what you can afford to do and just build something. Here we go again with Crash Hancock. Just build something, fly something, and enjoy this wonderful hobby we call RC. Okay, this seemed to work well. We'll reset up. Maybe we'll start building a Savastar here in a little bit. Hey guys, thanks for watching. This is Eric signing out.